Hello, everyone. This is Binu Peniel. I'm sorry for the inconvenience or technical difficulties that I had in the morning to go live on this platform. Welcome to this platform, and I'm glad that I got this opportunity to talk to you through this platform. I just want to thank everyone who is listening to me and going to listen to this message. My name is Binu Peniel. I'm basically from Kerala, lives in the state of Ohio, United States. I have completed most of my postgraduate studies in theology, pastoral care and counseling, and pastoral psychotherapy. I recently finished my doctoral work, and my project was related with bringing awareness about modern-day slavery to the church leaders from a global context. Our conversation today will be centered around the topic called the love of God. This topic was very much relevant to the context of today's coffee culture and instant gratification. The American Heritage Dictionary defines love as an immense affection for another person based on familiar or personal ties. Today's love is conditional, it is self-centered, but we need unconditional love, and we need selfless love. The love of God either means love for God or love by God. You know, it has both definitions. Today, different people or different friends of mine might have spoken on this platform from different angles. I did not get the time to listen to all of them, but I listened to some of them. But today, my conversation will be basically trying to go through a philosophical or a terminological understanding of this word. Particularly, I will be talking from John, Gospel according to John, chapter 21, verses 15 to 19. Primarily, it is an encounter between Jesus and Peter. Jesus and Peter having an encounter, you know, that particular chapter is very, very awesome and very, very interesting. That's what I'm going to talk to you today from. We all need a little bit more love. I can get a little bit more and you can get a little bit more. You know, in my counseling rooms, I have experienced people struggling to love one another and love to receive love. And some of us will block to receive any love because of painful experiences, or we have received some kind of, we have been received problems related with love, or we have been cheated, or we have encountered fake love, so that we cannot trust the pure love. You know, people, even they offer it, we just put a curtain right in front of our face, and we won't be able to offer this, or we won't be able to receive it. The Greek word philotheia is associated with the concept of purity, worship, and devotion towards God. Within the Judeo-Christian worldview, the love by God for human beings is louder. You know, the Greek word is used, philanthropa, which is of the same root word where the word philanthropy comes to us. You know, many of us in the social strata of life engaged ourselves with philanthropic work in different capacities. Let me read the passage that we are going to talk about. So, as I said, I will be talking about the love of God from the perspective of love for God or love by God. So it is both ways. I cannot receive love just because I am not able to give love. Here, Peter and Jesus having an encounter. When they, the gospel says, the gospel read in this manner, it is also the title of this text says, in my Bible, Jesus reinstated Peter. Jesus reinstated Peter. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than this? Listen to this. Do you love me more than this? When they finished eating, Jesus asked Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? The Greek word used there has some profound meaning. Jesus actually asked Peter about 3 times, do you love me? We just, in the English translation, we have only one word for love, but the Greek has different words for love. And I believe this is so profound. The rest of the verse says, Simon replied, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my lambs. Jesus asked a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Simon replied, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said to him, take care of my sheep. He asked a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was sad that Jesus asked him the third time. There is also theological significance of anything that is constantly asked more than twice or 3 times in the Jewish Judeo-Christian understanding has more profound meaning to it. Jesus says, take care of my sheep. He asked the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was sad that Jesus asked him the third time, do you love me? He replied, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. I've been with you for the last 3.5 years. You know. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. I assure you that when you were young, you tied your own belt and walked around wherever you want. When you grow old, you will stretch out of your hand. Another will tie your belt and lead you wherever you want to go. He said this to show the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. After saying this, Jesus said to Peter, follow me. The history says how Peter died. Peter died, when the Romans were trying to kill Peter. Peter said, I don't want it to die just like my master. So crucify me up and down so that I can kiss the feet of my master and I leave this world. Peter genuinely followed Jesus. In the Greek word, it might have used lek akalai. Come follow me, Peter. I will make you as someone to take care of my sheep. The Petrine throne is located in St. Peter's in Rome. Just tells us more message than this, or how Peter loved Jesus. In the psychological understanding, there is something called the triangular theory of love, developed by the psychologist Robert Stensberg. The 3 components of love are intimacy, the second one is passion, and the third one is commitment. Intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy encompasses feelings of attachment, closeness, connectedness, and bondness. Passion encompasses drives connected to both infatuated love or sexual attraction. That's what passion means. Commitment encompasses, in the short term, the decision to remain with another. In a long term, the shared achievement or plan made with other person. When psychologists understand love, it is understood from a triangulation point of view. The first one is intimacy. The second one is passion, and the third one is commitment. Intimacy is mostly related with attachment. In psychotherapy and counseling, this concept of attachment and detachment is very profound. As counselors or therapists, we engage with the clients in attachment. And then if you don't know how to detach, better don't get attached. That's what we often say. Attachment theory in psychology originated with the work of John Bowlby in 1958. John Bowlby was working with the children, and John Bowlby considered the importance of child's relationship with their mother in terms of their social, emotional, and cognitive development. So he came up with this concept of attachment theory in the psychological field. So it is very profound when we understand. So it's just like, let me just come up with an example for this. An example is that, if someone is drowning to death in the water and I don't know how to swim, and I just run to that particular person and give my hand, what they're going to do is that they're going to grab my hand. They're not going to grab my hand. They sometimes try to grab completely me, and then we all get drowned to death in the water. So attachment is very, very important, especially in the postmodern world, in the technological world, in the technology of the Facebooking and tweeting and Instagram. We don't have any attachment. We think that we have recreated our social strata or our community again, but we don't know who it is. I have about 4,000 or close to 5,000 friends on my Facebook, and I have about maybe around 2,000 plus friends on my LinkedIn account. I don't know many of them. When I grew up in a village in India, particularly in southern part of India, in Kerala, I know everybody in my village. All were parents to me. If I just make some mistakes, and they will correct me, because there is an attachment, there is a healthy system. In Chinese proverb says it takes a village to raise up a child in a healthy manner. So attachment is very powerful. Now we get attached with someone in Africa, someone in Europe, without even knowing who that person is all about. Especially that's what's happening. So healthy attachment is very, very profound and very, very important in today's world. Let me come back to the Greek and understanding. The Greek philosopher Plato, in his work called Symposium, presents the love of wisdom as the highest form of love, and philosophy as a refreshment of our sexual urge that leads us to desire wisdom over sex. Here, particularly Symposium was written in a context where there was celebration and where there was fun, laughter, wine, and all of that. When Plato or Socrates, their conversation, they just come up with a concept or come up with an idea, tell us or explain to us what love is all about. And Plato, in the book, in the work of Symposium, talks mainly about wisdom, jnana marga, or achievement of intellectual greatness is considered as the highest form of love. It is not the sexual love. It is not about any other kind of love. It's the highest love. So especially they come from the philosophical standpoint. And I understand why they wanted to elevate, or they wanted to see the greatness of love in that framework. Human beings want to have physical love because we are not aware of the greater form of beauty, which are thoughts and ideas. That's what Plato says. He also says there are three classes of men or human beings: the lovers of wisdom, the lovers of honor, and the lovers of gain. Three categories of people. Lovers of wisdom, that is what the highest form of love. And the second one is lovers of honor, and the lovers of gain, just who have selfish interests. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. Plato says again, he whom love touches not walk in darkness. For him, the purest and the most bullying form of love we would ever achieve is the wisdom. Therefore, the pursuit of wisdom is the truest form of looking for love. It's not profound. So when people like us who are looking for love in different contexts, in different settings, within the church, within our social strata, in the club, in the school, when we try to understand what really love is, Plato says the highest form of love is a pursuit of wisdom. The biblical language, the love of God seen in the passage such as, Lamentations chapter 3:22, the steadfast love of God endures all day, endures forever and ever, some translation. Psalms chapter 52:8 says, I trust in the steadfast love of God forever and ever. Romans 8:29 says, nor height nor depth, nor anything else in creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. From God's love, which is so profound, nothing else in this world can separate us from God's love. John was understood to be someone who was so close to Jesus. It seems like John was the youngest disciple of Jesus. So he talking about love. Let's see what he says. In 1 John 4 verse 9 says, in this the love of God was made manifest among us, that God sent his only Son into the world so that we might live through him. The love of God is manifest in the incarnation of God. Incarnation is a perfect example to define love. It is the self-giving love. When it comes to, I told you that I promised you that I will talk about the Greek understanding of love from different standpoint or different words they used. There are many other words. Maybe some say it is about 6 or 7 words. But I'm going to say today about 4 words the Greek use to explain love. The first word is eros. Eros is actually, the second word is philia, the third word is storge, and the final word is agape. The first one is eros, which means sexual passion. This is named after the Greek god of fertility. I don't know what is the connection between fertility and sex. Maybe that's where the creation takes place. Aravindo in the Indian context says, God is so powerful, God is so present in sex because that's where creation takes place. Maybe that is the connection. He might have drawn it from the Greek understanding of the eros, the god of fertility. Eros was viewed as dangerous, fury, irrational form of love that would take hold of you and you possess. It tried to control you. It take hold of you. Eros involves a loss of control that frightened the Greeks. The Greeks are not very much fond of the concept of Eros. They don't want to associate. They wanted to see themselves as intellectually brilliant, philosophically brilliant people. Athens and other different Greek cities actually profound for knowing their philosophical understanding, which is odd because losing control is precisely that many people now seek in relationship. If you are just really seeking for love, which is according to Greek understanding, or if you are seeking for sex or eros, sexual passion, in different relationship, either it could be whether it is a heteronormative relationship or relationship between men and women or relationship between men and men. This is a very, very, very controversial issue in the American context now. In the state, there are passing laws and things like that. Eros is a love of passion and an overmastering passion that seizes and absorbs itself into the mind. It takes the control over your mind and then you start thinking about it. The basic idea of love here is self-satisfaction. I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm not thinking about my partner or my neighbor or my friends or my co-worker. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm just thinking about myself. It is more like a self-love. I love you because I love myself. Or you make me happy, and that's the reason I love you. There is no other reason that I love you in the context of Eros, because it pleases me. It gives me comfort. The philosophy of Eros is that being loved depends on being attractive to one another or another person. Because of this dependency, Eros would be considered a conditional type of love. It is not unconditional, it is conditional. As long as it feeds me, as long as it takes care of my own needs, I'm happy about it. One powerful aspect of this is it is not mentioned. The word Eros is not mentioned in the New Testament. Praise God for that. Eros is not used in the Septuagint or Alexis or the Greek translation of the Old Testament. When the Hebrew book was translated to Greek, they have not used the word Eros. This is one of the words that they used in the Greek understanding. The second word is philia. The second word used commonly in the Greek word is philia. It means friendship. Philia is concerned deep, camaraderie friendship that developed between brothers in arms who have fought side by side on the battlefield. When we see recently we had our independence or some kind of celebration recently in the nation. Our republic. Recently we celebrated our republic. We have seen the soldiers marching on the red carpet or on the main street of Delhi. Or in the nations. Every nation when they celebrate, we see the soldiers marching by. They will be standing side by side. It is my responsibility to take care of my brother's back because I have nobody to defend me on my back, and I have nobody to defend me on my side. I don't have anybody to defend me on the right side or left side. It is your responsibility to protect me. And at the same time, it is my responsibility to protect your blind spot. When we are driving, we have something called blind spot. Certain places, even though we are drivers, we don't able to see. So we have certain mirrors kept in different places to see our blind spot. Philia is used in the same context where it is side by side people or people in the battlefield fight and protect each other. It is my responsibility to take care of you. That is how the word love is explained. It was about showing loyalty to our friends, sacrificing for them, as well as sharing our emotions with them. This is same like the concept in the Irish world called Anam Cara. Anam Cara is someone is a soul friend who walks with you, who just journey with you, help you to identify your blind spot, what you don't otherwise see. In psychology, we have, there are, Johari window talks about 4 different areas of our life. One is open area, another one is blind, another one is unknown, another one is hidden, different areas. There are areas in my life that I won't see myself. It is not visible to me, so that I need a friend. I need someone who loves me to tell me this is where my weakness lies. This is where my strength lies. A better personality is the one who has a bigger open area, so that we will become better. As I said, in the Facebooking world or in the Twittering world, those who follow me, Greek don't get very fascinated or very interested about it because they don't like that kind of love. Because any kind of love they are talking about is the intimate relationship. It is genuine friendship. Jesus and his disciples are the perfect examples of this kind of love. It is called philia. They have perfect love, one who protecting the another, except the case of Judas Iscariot. It is not how the modern world interprets between the homosexual relationship. I'm not going into that route. But let me tell you, there are different kind of intimacies when it comes to nourishing our soul. Emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, physical intimacy, experimental intimacy, and spiritual intimacy. Philia is a companionable or a love. It is a companionship. The love speaks of affection, fondness, and liking, and I like somebody. It is a love that responds to kindness, appreciation, and love. It involves giving as well as receiving, but it is greatly stained, it may, if it is greatly stretched, it can collapse in a crisis. Plato talks about this, or Aristotle talks about this. Aristotle says all friendly feeling for others are an expression of man's love for himself. It is associated with the narcissism to some context. Unhealthy philia is narcissism, and Sarah's unhealthy relationship between the same sex and all of that. I'm not going in that route. There is a third word Greek use is called storge. Storge is also translated as love. It is a love affection, especially for parents for their children. It is common or natural empathy, like that felt by parents for offsprings. I have a little child about 3 months old. My wife or his mother love him dearly. That's what the word storge is used. Rarely used in the ancient work. This is also used when referencing the love for one's country or favorite sport team. I love my team. It is quiet and abiding feeling within a man that rests on something close to him that he feels good about. Ancient Greeks found diverse kind of love in relationship with a wide range of people, friends, family, spouse, strangers, and even themselves. Then there is a final word which is called agape. Agape is called out of one's heart by preciseness of the object love. It is a love of esteem, it is an idea, it has the idea of pricing. It is the noblest word of the English language or Greek language. Agape is not hindered by the merit. I don't expect it is not, you're not worthy enough to be loved, but I love you no matter what. I will just die for you no matter what. It is God's nature. God is love. It delights in giving. It is not aspect of receiving. The love keeps on, this kind of love keeps on loving even when the loved one is unresponsive, unkind, unlovable, or unworthy. It is unconditional love. Agape desires only good for one loved. Incarnation is a perfect example of agape love, self-giving love. C.S. Lewis in his work says, to love is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must go into no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully around with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, artless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, unpenetratable, irredeemable. The love is vulnerable. Keep it to yourself. Biblical understanding of love is not that. It is contrary to that. It is that kind of love is not explained in the biblical language. Agape love is actually, the word agape is not used in outside of the biblical text or literature, but there are hundreds of times this word agape is used in the biblical language. But this is totally opposite to the popular postmodern understanding of love. For some, love means finding peace with other human beings and finding peace in God. Love is finding the person that makes you feel complete, finding your passion in the postmodern language, finding your purpose, finding the common interest. And I belong to no religion. My religion is love. Some says every heart is my temple. Some says. Different religion talks about love in different ways. Buddhism talks about the primarily two different kind of love. Karma is the sensuous love. It depends on what kind of work I do, and I'm dependent on that, and I love you no matter what. It depends on conditions. It's an obstacle on the path to enlightenment because it comes from human selfishness. The second one is karuna. The word compassion is used. Mercy, which reduces the suffering of others. This complementary to wisdom and necessary to enlightenment. These are of course hold some understanding of agape, but cannot comprehend it in its fullest sense. God is love, and it demonstrates the love in everything that he does. Paul compares faith, hope, and love, and conclude that the greatest of these is love. God is love. Agape, the love theme of the Bible, can only be found in the nature of God. Let me challenge you, my friends, in our love relationship, let's grow up to the nature of God. God is love. God does not merely love, he is love. Everything that God does flow from his love. The theme of the entire Bible is revealed through Jesus Christ. It is the love of God is what explained in the Bible. Love is the motivation for evangelism. Christ's love compels us to become ambassadors of Christ with a ministry of reconciliation. The word of God says to Peter, Peter, do you love me more than these? The material possessions that you have. In the previous portion of that text says about Peter along with his disciples going to fishing, and they got a good catch. Jesus feeding them, and Jesus asking this genuine, powerful questions to them. Peter, Simon, do you love me more than these? More than these material possessions? More than your friends who are coming with you for anything that you would love to do it? More than you love yourself, that selfish, narcissistic love. Jesus asked Peter, do you love me more than these? More than yourself, more than your friends. If you love me, Peter was broken when Jesus asked this question. Peter was sad, but he said, Jesus, you know it. I don't have a profound answer for you. You know it. You are more important. You know it. You know my brokenness. You know my vulnerability. Jesus, I invite you to come to me, come to my life with your compassion, your karuna, your mercy, your grace. Someone said the difference between grace and mercy is that mercy is unconditional. You don't deserve anything. Grace is that I'm extending some kind of love. But mercy goes beyond that. My friends, there's nobody else to love you in the way that Jesus can love you. There's nobody else can take care of you just how Jesus can take care of you. There's only one way. That way is Jesus Christ. Let me proclaim that one more time. There is no other way under heaven given to mankind other than the name of Jesus. Jesus is trustworthy. His love is a life-giving love. He's asking you the same question. I wanted to replace the place of Simon, the name with your name. Matthew, George, Francis, Gilbert, Joy Matthew, Vidya, Santosh. Do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than yourself? Do you love me more than your friends? I know it is a challenge for us. God's love is beyond our understanding, beyond our comprehension. Taste and see the Lord is good. Thank you for listening. May God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity in this platform to share your word. Share God's word. God's love you. I often say in my conversation, taking this word from my friend, Rudy Rasmus, a pastor in here, he says, I love you, and you can do nothing about it. I love you, you can do nothing about it. God bless you. Thank you for listening. May the blessings of God be with you today and forever. Amen.